Jace Tunnell here. Today we're talking to you about the Texas state shell, the Lightning Whelk. And I found a live one on the beach today. It's not uncommon to find live ones, especially after storm events, sometimes cold fronts, things like that, or when tides go way out. We can also find them in the bay, but to find one this big, that's what's pretty interesting. They do get bigger than this. I've found them probably twice this size, but this one's alive and healthy. It was up, way up at the tide line, tide's way out, and it was half buried, so I got it up and I'm going to put it back out in the water. But a lot of people know that there's a Texas bird, the mockingbird. That's the Texas state bird. The Texas state flower, the bluebonnet. And then, but not very many people know that there's a Texas state shell. And so I wanted to show you this one so that you're familiarized with it, especially if you're from Texas, or if you just like to know, interesting odd facts like that. There is a shell that looks very similar to this, which I'll put a picture up here of, called the parwhelk, but it actually opens on the opposite side, so that's how you can tell the difference. Plus the parwhelk doesn't have these sharp knobs on it like this. Now I find all different kinds of these whelks. This one is turning black, so sometimes you'll see these, especially after storms. When they're black like this, that means that they've been underground for many, many years and starting to turn black because they're in anoxic conditions. Now this one has something different on it as well. And so this one has a lot of little bitty holes all around it. So most likely it was covered in a sponge at some point. And so there's something called a boring sponge that will get on the outside of shells and it will create all these little holes in there. But we'll find these lightning whelks little bitty all the way up to really big and all different kinds of colors, depending on if they're alive or kind of like a fossil like this one. Every year I get these people that text me saying, oh man, there's all these snakes with no skin washing up. That's actually the egg casing to the lightning whelk. And so they have little pods on them, and they can be even up to 4 foot long, but each one of those little pods that is on that string of eggs for that egg casing can have up to like 100 little babies in there that look just like the adult, but I mean they're minuscule small. Now you might not have known it, but these snails are highly predatory, feeding mainly on bivalves. So think clams, oysters, things like that. And they can actually, they have a sensory organ where they can actually sense, smell their food, and they will bury down into the mud or the sand, which is typically where they like to live, in order to be able to find their food. Now these aren't one of these animals that you find that are found all over the world. I mean, this is basically on the Atlantic coast and then up in the Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf states. So it's a rare find for if you're somewhere else in the world. Now we find these pretty often here in the US. We're lucky in that sense. They don't have any eyes. They do have eye spots, but it's not eyes in how you're thinking, like we see. It's more of just knowing whether it's light or dark. They do come out during the daytime only. They're considered diurnal. And another science term we have is nocturnal, which is nighttime only, but these are diurnal, so they come out during the daytime to feed. There is some history with these. For thousands of years, actually Native Americans would use these lightning whelks for a number of different reasons. They could make, they could kind of cup like food, so it could be like a little bowl. They could also use the edge of the shell for like a knife. Of course they could eat it. So, these are edible, and I'll get into some of the regulations with these if you're interested in trying to eat one. Just a lot of different uses that the Native Americans have used these for over the years. So let's fast forward to now. Okay, so say you want to go out and you want to collect these and eat them. Well, you have to have a saltwater permit from Texas Parks and Wildlife, so a fishing license. And then you can only get 2 of these per day per person. So you don't want to go over that. If you do, you know, you're going to get a ticket. Bad news for you. There is a season, so November 1st to April 30th. So don't go trying to collect them outside of that time range, because it's just like anything else when hunting or something like that. There's a season for them. But they are edible. A lot of protein in them, you know, like any kind of big snail that you would eat. These can actually live up to 15 years. That's a long time for a snail. The other thing is they can be about 16 inches. So look at this one. I don't know, this one's probably 7 or 8 inches long. So imagine 16 inches. So these things actually get very big. They lay eggs twice a year, spring and in the fall. However, scientists don't know everything there is to know about these. They don't know whether one individual can lay multiple times a year. It might just be once a year. Okay, so let's go take this guy back so it can live another day. Make sure we get him far enough out here. There we go. Okay, good luck, buddy.